I think everybody out there knows me as Rita from M5, but that's not where it started, right? But there's no, I tried to look for pictures for before that time, before this time, but I couldn't find anything. It's like I never took pictures. Why? Because there's nothing to take pictures of. So I thought I'll just show you this picture here to start off with. So this is not where I started, all right? I did not end up in Cape Town, which has always been my dream. I go to the beach every weekend. We go hiking in the bush, but it never started off like that, right? So I want to take you back to that time, to where I used to be. And I want you to think if you can also recognize some of these things that's happening in your life right now. So if you see this and you are an employee somewhere, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I used to get up in the morning, drive all the way from Centurion to Joburg to my job, where my job used to be, and this is what I went through every single morning, right? And no matter how nice your car was, no matter how fast your car was, or how comfortable it was, you were still stuck in traffic. And you know what's more important than a nice car, comfy, very Lamborghini, whatever car you have, is the fact that you are stuck there for an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening, 3 hours out of your day wasted. Wasted listening to one after the other stupid things on the radio and not being able to travel outside of traffic. Even in COVID now, I see people think there's no more COVID, so I was stuck in traffic this morning because I had to leave at a peak traffic time. But that was my life, right? My second point about being in a job was that I really felt like I had no control over my life. I couldn't go to holiday when I wanted, for how long I wanted. I even just to take a sick child to the doctor, I had to ask permission from some idiot that thought they were more important than me and my sick child. And I'm sorry, but when a mother's child is sick, then nothing comes in the way, right? And I felt trapped, and I felt like a slave to these people and to this environment. And although at that stage I blamed them, only me, I was to blame ultimately, because nobody's going to make better decisions for you than you can make for yourself. And I literally, I think my biggest thing about wanting to get out of there is just to be free and make my own decisions for myself. So you had what? If you're lucky, you have 15 to 24 days a year that you're allowed to go out if somebody approves it. So who wants to live like that? It is absolutely horrible. And guess what? I spent all that time on the road or at work, and then what? Come end of the month, yay, I have money. And then what? By the third of the month, how much do you have left? You're broke. You don't have anything. You're stressed out. Your money has gone to tax. Before you even see it, it's gone to SARS. You have bills to pay. My car had to be paid. The house had to be paid. Water and electricity, kids' school fees, you name it. By the third, you're broke. You're sitting at home, literally, and a good night out is a braai at your sister's house, and she's paying for the wine, you know. So that's not a good place to be. And I think that's sort of the story. It sounds very stupid and very like cliche, but that was my life for 21 years in a job, in a corporate environment, and being happy with it, right? Not realizing that I'm actually, it's not the way that anybody should live. And only once my mindset has been changed and I realized, but hello, this is not actually cool, did I go through, and that crisis that I talked about the other day, did I realize that I needed to get out of it. So this is sort of the background and where it all started. But now you're going to say, okay, but now what? You also broke. No matter what, you can be promoted, you can get a bonus, but very soon you're broke again. So no matter how much money you get, you're always broke. So I said, okay, cool. Now, what do you do, right? What do you do? How do you invest when you're broke? Okay. So I wanted to quickly show you guys this little picture here. And I want to explain this so that you can see what is it that Rita did. This is exactly what I did. Okay. And this is what I did to get out of my situation. So I want to show you guys, as an employee, what do I do? What did I do? I took my money every month. I bought a very nice fancy car. I remember my my second car was a Golf GTI, and I felt like I have arrived. I loved that car. It was like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And my husband loved it even more because he could race up and down and all over the show. So that was me. So I bought my very expensive car, and every month, what did I do? I went to the bank. I got a loan on a normal car loan on it, and I paid the car off, right? 5, 6, what is it these days? 72 months later, and the car's paid off. But at the end of the month, after I paid this nice car, I was broke. What else did I do? I paid all my kids' school fees. Now you have to pay your kids' school fees, right? But is there a better way to pay it? I thought no, and I just paid for it. And whenever I got my bonus, so we were very lucky. End of the year, we got a bonus. But what did I do with that bonus? All I could do was to pay for the kids' school fees that I was either behind on or trying to get into a little bit of advance for the next year. So I paid the kids' school fees just to have a little bit of a break during the year. But even then, I was still broke by the third. So that's what I did. And that's normal, right? Or is it? Think about it. So this is the new normal. Let me call it the new normal, my new normal. Now imagine that you can take that money, right, put it somewhere where it multiplies. So now your 1 little rand becomes 2. That makes little money babies. And then these money babies pay for a car. And you can see this car isn't as fancy as that car, but I'm essentially getting this car for free, right? Because I still have my money. The money babies are actually paying. I just buy a car that is the same amount, the monthly installment on the car. So I still go get a loan on it, right? But the loan on that car, the amount I pay every month, the 1,000, 2,000, whatever, because it's not a fancy car, it's a smaller car, that actually gets paid for by my money babies. And these money babies keep on coming every single month. And after 72 months, my car's paid off, and I still have this original money that I put in, right? And now these little money babies can do something else for me, can buy something else, and maybe think about it, maybe a house, maybe it's enough to pay for your kids' school fees, but it doesn't matter. It can pay for anything that you need to pay for in your life. And now I know people are already thinking, and I was, guys, I do not blame you if you can't see it, because it's a little bit radical, but people have done it. I would never have done it. But some people went and sold this fancy car, okay, took the money, so maybe they got, the car was like 20,000, they got 100,000, they took that 80,000, they put it into an investment, they got the money babies, and they went to buy a smaller car again. So it's downgrading temporarily for a bigger return and lifestyle later on. I hope I make sense. Please drop there in the comments, Rita, you're talking nonsense, or this is new, or I know this stuff already, tell me something new. Whatever, just tell us there in the comments. But this is the fundamentals, and I need you to understand this, because this is very, very important as we go through into, but how? How do you do this now? So I wish 10 years ago that I took every single year, I took my bonus and I did this, right? Instead of paying for the kids' school fees, I could have used that same. So say for instance, right? So kids are in a private school, you take 100,000 rands and you invest it. Or you can take that 100,000 rands, pay the school fees in advance for the whole year. Come end of the year, you have to now take your new bonus that you got the second year, and you have to take that money and then pay for the kids' school fees again. Okay? But in this model, you take that 100,000 from the kids' school fee that you were going to pay the kids' school fees with, you invest it somewhere, that 100,000 makes a monthly income for you that you then pay your school fees with. Okay? And guess what? At the end of that year, that money is still there. It's going to continue doing this. So with one bonus, I could have paid for my kids' school fees all for like forever, basically. Because this cycle would just continue. That's a never-ending stream of income coming in for me to keep on paying. So I can use my next bonus, can invest it again, and now instead of having to pay the kids' school fees, I could have used that second stream of income from my second bonus now to get the car or to get the holiday or to get something else, right? Yeah, so that's sort of the problem is that people will just pay that lump sum and spend it and it'll be gone. Keep it, borrow against it or invest it, get those money babies and buy and pay for whatever you need. So that I think is for me a very, very important concept that I want you to understand before I move on. The next thing is that, okay, but now, Rita, hello, what can I do with 100,000 and how much can I actually get? This is what I did. Okay, so I can't tell you what's going to be best for you. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not advising anything. All I'm going to tell you is what did I do? What did Rita, 20-year-long employee, do to finally actually take some money and get out of that cycle? All right. So for me, it was around student accommodation. I learned a lot of things along the way. I did a whole lot of other things, but eventually all of those things added up. And what I ended up at and with is with student accommodation. And the question I get asked, I think, really, it's like every single person I talk to about student accommodation, the one thing they ask me is, but even the bank, even people that has been involved in that will ask me, but how has COVID affected your business? How does COVID affect the fact that people are paying? Are they paying? How about all this online learning? And there's a few things that I have experienced. And again, I'm not, yes, we see the trends and the news and all that there. I'm talking to you from a point of this is what is actually happening out there right now. And I've got a waiting list of about almost 100 students, people that have paid application fees, people that have paid deposits. I don't have space for them. Res has closed down, UCT burned down the other day, 4,000 students out on the streets, nowhere to go to. So people are still having babies. 2 new universities that I know of, and I'm sure there's more that's busy being built, one very close to where I stay, so I'm like, I can see where that's going. I'm definitely going to get some more properties in this area. And it's just, it has totally exploded this year. I do a mix of students. I do private, NSFAs, and bursary students. So even though they have to come back, they have to go to campus. So what happens? Those campus, the fact that they have to go to campus even for 1 hour a day is actually, they have to come and stay somewhere, right? Even to go to campus for 1 hour, because you can't go to the actual campus from Limpopo in Cape Town for 1 hour a day or a week or something. So they have to come and they have to live somewhere. So it has been even more demand than last year. and I am actively busy buying more properties for next year, ramping up, growing to be 5,000 students in the near future. So that's about the demand. So what did I do to get into this and to take advantage of this opportunity? Very, very simple. I have properties that we manage. So I created this company. It's called My Student House. My Student House manages properties for M5 and all our partners, and also manages students for other people that want to invest in student accommodation, but they don't want to manage it. And you can't just use a normal agent, because there's a lot of more hands-on things that needs to happen that normal agents won't do, and you will still be involved and pulling your hair out. So that is what this company does. We have Cape Town, Potch and Durban. We have actively students there being managed, and we are busy offering on properties in Johannesburg and Pretoria. The vision is really to grow to be in 7 cities, one neighboring country that we've identified that we want to go into, and all of that up to 5,000 students for the next 2 to 3 years, and then obviously much more beyond that. And we're looking to grow across Africa, the whole of South Africa, and bigger than that, even in the UK at some point. So that's our longer term vision and strategy for this company, a property company, but also a management company. And that is what it's about. But why? So you'll say, okay, but there's people with empty houses. So you need to understand that people's houses are empty and students don't want to stay there because they don't get the right service. Okay, you can see my houses are, it's very neat. It looks comfortable. I've got house parents on site. We enforce the rules and regulations so that people are healthy and safe. And we do quality accommodation. These things are all within the NSFAS bursary budget. So very few of our rooms are actually more than that. Very, very few. They all fit within those budgets so that we can assist those students, those future leaders of this country, to have that environment where they can really learn, study. My slogan for My Student House is learn, number one, live. You have to be able to live somewhere and must feel like home, and make memories. Because as a student, you also want to be able to make memories. We all want to. I mean, we were so excited. Imagine, can you think back to the time when you just finished school and you were so excited to finally get away from your parents, and then you go to a house and you sleep on bricks? I mean, who wants that? It's, so it's, I always do quality accommodation for my students. Right, so here is some pictures that I wanted to show you. So this is some of the students that's in this house over here, and here you can see they are. We always encourage. We want them to be not only to learn and whatever. Like I also said, we want them to live and be healthy and learn good habits for later in life. So we also organize for them to go to gym. The house mother goes to gym with them. And here we got Planet Fitness to actually come out, and they did a program for them at the actual house, and that everybody enjoyed it. And I was actually quite surprised to see some of the kids that joined in, and I never expected it, and they loved it. They really enjoyed it. We had an Easter egg hunt on the Sunday. And it's actually quite funny because I thought it's just little kids that like Easter egg hunts. Big kids love it as well. It was actually so cool. I have a few videos of that. And this is the team over here. There's a house mother missing, and obviously some of the Potch team is not in there in the picture as well. And then this is why I do it. You want to know why I really do it? Because of this. And this is the thank you letters that I get when we do these activities, guys. And I mean, it's when they actually all came and they were there together, and I had to read the notes, and and they had a person doing a little speech, and it was actually so cool. There's actually a video of that, and I'm not showing it to anybody because I actually cried in the video. And so I was like so surprised that, you know, they actually, because sometimes you just do things for kids and you don't expect this level of thanks and appreciation that comes back. And this is why I do it. I laminated it. It's on my wall in my office, and this is really, for me, what it's really about. But now, the thing is also that I want this model. I want to copy and paste it. I want to take it all over South Africa. I already told you, I want to take it all over Africa. I want to take it flipping anywhere. Anywhere where there are students that want a good life, people that want to make something of themselves, because I've spent so much time with people just complaining about their lives and about their situations and not willing to get their asses out of their chairs and make a difference and do something to change that. I'm done with that. So for me, I want to create an environment where I can help people that want to do something. And these kids are so young and they still have their lives ahead of them, you know? So how do we make it bigger? How do I get to 40,000 students? I can't do that on my own, not fast enough, because I'm not going to do this over the next 40 years. By that time, I'm going to be very, 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 very old. So no, I want to do it quickly. I want to scale and grow quickly. And I want you guys to invest with us. I want you to be with me on this journey. I want you to come and visit them and come to the houses and see what we do and experience it and really understand what it is to do this for people. And I think, you know, it almost feels to me sometimes that I finally found my calling. I've had students that came from very rural areas where they've never seen a microwave. I was like, wow, things we take for granted, that they've never been in a shower, and bringing them into an environment like this where they can really succeed. A+ student. Whenever there's a student in need, I just give them blankets. If they come here without a blanket, I'm like, oh my goodness, you can't have somebody, you know, this poor child so we give them blankets. We're always trying to assist where we can. And in the time before they even get their allowances, some of them don't have food to eat. They'll just come and they'll, you know, and then that's where your food starts disappearing in the kitchen. But you can always, when we find who these students are, we actually give them food parcels and we try and help them without anybody else knowing, because obviously they don't want to be embarrassed. But we try and do that little bit extra so that they can be successful. Because if you are there, if you made it and you're going to study and you're going to make a success of yourself, I will do anything to help you with that. So I want everybody with me on this journey, and I want you to say 3 years from now that your money grew and made 5,000 successful leaders in South Africa. How amazing would that be? What a difference this country will be if we can make that happen. So that is my passion, and that is what I love to do, and that's why I do it. And I think just to round off, I want to tell you the story about my crazy sister. Okay? It's not like my pseudonym for myself. No, I really have a sister, and she's absolutely crazy. She's the crazy one in the family. She's the one that would always jump off the highest branch in the tree, you know, and I'll be like, oh, I can't do this. So she's absolutely crazy. And she was at a job, then she left the job, then she got a business, then the business failed, and eventually she ended up at a corporate job, same company that I worked at. She's still there. But for 10 years, ever since I started to get into the whole mindset shift and starting to invest, and over the last 5 years, I have been actively like, come Colette, come, you have to do it. No. She hates her job. She hates her life. She can't go anywhere. She can't do anything. But she just, I don't know if she didn't believe me. I don't know if she didn't want, if she was just comfortable in her misery. I don't know. I tried to give her lots of wine so she would tell me, but that also didn't work. And she just carried on like that. And I couldn't understand it, but I thought, okay, I love her. She's my sister. And it's fine. I'll loan her money every now and again whenever she needs it to get through a month. But it's fine. We'll continue like that. Then, guys, I was so super happy. In this past December, she came down to Cape Town and we got to spend a little bit of time together. And then eventually she did it. She took 500 rands, just 500. And I said, okay, fine. You know, it's normally 50,000, but since I've been begging you and you're my sister, we took 500 rands and she invested. And she was like watching this. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Because she's like, you know, Rita, I've got 1,000 rands in my account. I can't even drive back to Joburg with this 1,000 rands. I said to her, just do it. If you run out of petrol, it's fine. I'll give you money, but just do it. You have to make the decision for yourself. And she did. And she put the money in. She watched it. And this is where the crazy part comes in, right? And I'm not recommending this to anyone to do. I'm just telling you what happened. So she then went and she got a credit card from one of the banks that gave, and she couldn't afford a credit card, right? She couldn't even afford a small credit card from before. And she said, no, she's going to do this. She took it. She got a crazy 250,000 rands credit card, and she took that money and she invested it. And I was like, you are the craziest person I know officially. And now that money, those little money babies that she's getting from that is actually paying enough to pay off her monthly, because she took the minimum repayment. That money is getting paid off by these money babies that she's getting from the investment. And she bought herself a dishwasher. She got her kids a PlayStation. She got, what was the other thing? A big green clean machine. So she's getting all these things that she's always wanted and could never afford. And now the next big plan is to buy herself a house, because she's always been renting. I said to her, you will not get one until I have approved it, because you have to stay for free. You're not going to pay for that house. I will show you how to do that. And then she's looking to actually leave her job. I don't know if she'll be able to do it as quickly as she thinks she can, but that is her next big step. And guys, if my sister can do it, and I've been begging her to do it for so long, you can do it. You can be part of this journey. And Joe is actually now going to explain to you how you can make these little money babies with SARS, helping you to do that. So I hope you can see where we're going and the vision, and Joe will show you the how part.
Right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Rita, for that. And here's the first thing that I want to say. We've got someone else that is coming in to do, they're going to give us a talk on how they're doing it, and they're doing it in the UK. Rita says we want to go into the UK. We are creating relationships intentionally way ahead of time. And if you're wondering, why is TJ bringing all these people from the UK? What do we have to learn from them? There's something that we learn, and we are creating relationships intentionally. So there is around about 750 of us all online at the moment, and we are very intentional about it. We want you to invest alongside us. We want you to invest in this cause. I think it is a national cause that can also put money in our pocket. But without wasting time, I am going to bring in Joe, and I call him my Joe Biden. But let's see. Joe, how's it going? Okay, Joe is on mute there. Let's see if we can prat. Yeah, say something, Joe. There, we can hear you.
Hi, TJ, it's going well, and yourself?
Awesome stuff. Joe, I am going to get you going immediately because we are kind of like, we need to get to a lot of things. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that right, DJ? DJ, can you see my screen? DJ, can you see my screen on that side?
I can see Joe. I can see it good and clear. You can run. Joe, can you hear me?
DJ?
Yeah, Joe, I can hear you. Continue. I think everyone else can hear you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I see on my screen, I've still got a few slides here on the left-hand side. Let me try and fill the whole screen for you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, DJ, so the goal of what we're doing is with the fund is we're raising 50 million in 90 days. And normally this sort of investments was just for the rich, and we really neglected to pull in the rest of the investors in the country into this investment class. So the nice thing that we're doing is that we've opened up the demographic for a lot of new investors to come to the table and sit sit with the larger players in the market, and also benefit from the advantages that is there to invest in a larger fund. So the raise we're looking for is 50 million, and we're looking to do that in 90 days. Very reachable goal, not too ambitious, but we are putting it in place, and we're aiming for the sky, and we're aiming high. Just a little bit about myself is, my background is fund manager. So I've always been in finances, really, cutting my teeth with anything surrounding projects and finances combined. And I settled into a position as a fund manager, assisting funds to grow, and from a compliance point of view and a legal point of view, to assist any fund in growing as quickly and as viable as possible. So just a little bit of my background, I've been working at Sasol, and I've been involved in Ilovo and Anglo American, and with this, a lot of large companies, and you gain so much experience on how these guys are doing business if you're associated with one of these larger players in the market, of course. So it's quite a nice position to be in. To have all this knowledge that I've gained over the years, and actually applying it into what we're doing for our investors, we're just giving them an exceptional fund to invest in that will give exceptional returns as well. So just you can see my background is mainly finances, cost engineering. That's a little bit of a background about me, but let me get into the fund, and we can talk about some other aspects of the fund. Of course, what is the role of a fund manager? So a fund manager is, the main responsibility of a fund manager is creating an investment strategy and managing it so that we can be compliant and fulfill the responsibilities of a fund, and having a fund open to give individuals that surety and credibility that everything is in place and everything
Joe,
is.
can you hear me? Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Your presentation is not. We're not going with you on your presentation. So you're still on slide 1, I think. I think now you're already on slide 3, but we're still on slide 1.
My apologies. Let's see what could be the problem there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you're going to bring it in just now. So for some people that know Four Ways, Joe has been instrumental in Four Ways. There's a big precinct in Johannesburg, and at one point when I was getting married, I was staying in the Four Ways, and I said to my wife, this is where we are going to die. And my wife says, no, not with this traffic, never. And I said to her, but I love Four Ways. It's amazing. It's in the north. And she's like, it's either Four Ways or it's me. And yeah, so you all know, I moved out of Four Ways. But hopefully I'll go back there soon. And whilst Joe is trying to figure out his presentation there, is it back in, Joe? I don't see it on my side.
We're almost there. It's just loading.
Okay. All right, awesome. I see it on my side. I'm going to pull it back again onto the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize there. Okay, awesome stuff. It looks like it's back. I'm going to go back in the backstage and you can continue.
Okay. Yeah, TJ, apologies. It seems like it's not going through.
Can you hear me, Joe? Do you want to just WhatsApp quickly to me? Then maybe I can pull it from my end.
I think so. I think let's do it like that. That'd be perfect.
Okay, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for this technical hiccup. And whilst we're doing that, maybe you can quickly grab a cup of coffee, and we'll bring in a little bit of a short clip whilst we are coming back again on here, and we will come back just now. All right, we are back, and whilst Joe, I'm just gonna bring back Joe into the room again. And again, thanks for your patience. Joe, you back there? All right. I am just gonna pull in your slide now as I speak, and we will get there in a minute. And boom, we are here. Can you see my screen, Joe?
Yes, I can see it. Thanks so much.
Okay, good. You wanna shoot?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did speak about our goal of raising 50 million in 90 days, which is perfectly attainable goal at this stage, and we've got a team to do it. We've got put everything in place already. We've got all the compliance and legal is sorted. We are moving in the right direction, and as I mentioned, my role as a fund manager is essentially to guide and assist and also fulfill the role of a manager when it comes to being compliant and also just to follow the investment strategy of the group really and assist where I can. So that's basically what a fund manager does, keeping everything in line, and it's the most important thing to have everything being adhering to the regulations. So just talking about Section 12J and the fund we have. So what we've done is that we've set up a very interesting fund in the sense that we've opened up an investment class to the everyday person on the ground that has got the opportunity now to invest from as little as 50,000, where initially it was only open to very rich and wealthy individuals that could have invested from R1 million and up. So that is where we're coming from, and Section 12J, which is what the legislation is called, where the fund is registered into, is actually been around for many years. It's been drafted since 2009, and it's only been in 2015 that government really made some crucial changes to the legislation that enables us to actually utilize this investment class better. So we're very fortunate to have that opportunity to utilize this investment class. So Section 12J at the end of the day means that it's specifically created from a government's point of view to enable individuals to invest in a fund where they can get back their taxes for the financial year. There's no other fund like it. Currently, there's nothing compares to the fact that you're investing in a fund that's got some great growth potential, and also on the other hand, you are getting your tax rebate back, which is it's a cherry on top of the cake when you consider all the income streams for a normal investor out there. And that's why we're so happy about this Section 12J fund. It's got the track record of being around for many years. It's been very successful in creating job opportunities as well in the market, which is the main reason why government initiated this structure, is to create work and job opportunities for all the companies that are being invested in. To grow those companies, and when the company grows, they appoint employees to come and share in the growth of that company, and that's what Section 12J was initially started for. So it's a great asset class. There is some great benefits when it comes to Section 12J, in the fact that if just an idea surrounding if you're in the highest tax bracket or you're even in the lowest tax bracket, it's all about earning your return on your investment and also earning the additional tax rebate that this investment fund can give you. So as a good example on the screen, you can see as an individual, this is a very high number, but if you invest R1 million and you're in the highest tax bracket, people, this is currently happening where you invest R1 million at the 45% tax bracket, and you will get your tax relief or tax rebate of 450,000 Rand being paid back to you by SARS into your own personal bank account. That it doesn't get shared with the fund. This is your money getting paid back to you by SARS into your bank account. Obviously, if any individual's got a trust or a company, there is some great benefits for those structures as well. But we realize that it's a limited amount of people out there that utilize that. The greatest impact that this fund can make is for individuals. A person that earns a salary, it's got a pay slip. That pay slip is being used for, there's a tax deduction in that pay slip. And, you only realize really what is your tax bracket when you go back and you do the numbers and see that you're currently at a 30% or you're currently at a 28%. And you realize that if that money could have been paid back into my personal account, I would have earned a lot more money for this year. And that's what we can do in our fund for any individual that invests. So we mentioned that if you invest R1 million and you get back the 450,000 of the R1 million, just keep in mind that you're only out of pocket 550,000, which is a great number to be out of pocket with, considering that your R1 million still grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We don't let your 550,000 grow. So let's take a better example, which is 100,000. You're still in your 45% tax bracket, guys. You've got this advantage where you get 45% of that 100,000 back, which is the 45K, which is amazing. But you're only out of pocket 55,000, but that 100,000 still continue to grow. And that's exactly what we can do in our fund for our investors, is that we can give exceptional growth with the assistance of this government initiative. So and obviously, if you're in a 30% tax bracket, guys, that will mean that if you invest 100,000, SARS will pay you back 30,000 of the 100,000, and you'll only be out of pocket 70K, but you will still have that 30,000 that comes into your bank account from SARS that you don't expect immediately, but it's there and it's on its way. TJ, if you can help me with the next slide, please. Guys, so we have a breakdown here of what investment looks like, and how it's structured, and you can see there's a 45% tax bracket, there's a 30%, there's a 28%, then there's a 18%. At the end of the day, if you have a pay slip, you pay taxes. It's just below a certain amount, a very small amount, you do not. But when you get into larger numbers, guys, these guys are waiting, and they are going to get your taxes. And the only way to get it back is to utilize what we can give you in this Section 12J fund. So we're looking to pay out dividends on a yearly basis of 7.5%, with a total growth of your capital of up to 17% return on investment, which is exceptionally good, utilizing all the tax structures that we put in place. And that will be paid on quarterly or yearly dividends. It's up to the investor to indicate what's the best cash flow that they would like to go for. It's important to know that this is for any person out there, that's an individual. As I mentioned before, it's for your business, and also it's for a trust. A lot of people are currently looking at trusts to keep their money and all the assets they've worked so hard for, to keep the assets and protect it and leave it for more generations to come. When you're not here, trust is a very, very good structure to have for your loved ones. Teacher, if you can help me with the next slide. Very important, M5, are we accredited by the FSCA? Yes, we are, and we have a FSP license. You don't just get those license and accreditation around the corner. We've worked hard for it. We've got a track record. We've got well-qualified individuals that are assisting us really with putting all of this together and managing it well. And then at the end of the day, who is the FSCA? It's a regulator of the financial institutions in the country. So they're the managing body, really looking after everybody's interest when it comes to financial investments. and if they've accredited your fund and it went through your credentials, they would issue you with an FSB license, which is the next step. Guys, we have an FSB license, and it's in the documentation that you see right in front of you. It's 47737, which is very important. And that's a very important number to have a look at. So we're fully accredited. We've got all our information is up to date. We're getting audited. You know, this is a way to keep your investments safe and to show you that we're adhering to all the regulations that the government has put in place to protect the individual that invests in a Section 12J fund like ours. DJ, if you can help us with the next slide there. So at the end of the day, there's a question that always comes up in that, what do you want to get as an investor? What sort of security is there when it comes to your investments? And it's very important to know that the security that's there, firstly, you need to evaluate the type of investment that you're investing in, and choosing property, which is the lowest risk asset class there is. At the end of the day, the property will still be there. It's not something that will go away. It only grows in value, as we all know, and it's going to grow in value every year for the rest of our lives. It could fluctuate. You never know when the economy goes down, but at the end of the day, it takes labor to build a property, and you know, people want to get paid every year. They want to get paid a little bit more. So at the end of the day, there is something like inflation, which actually pulls up the value of all the properties, and it only increases over time. It does not decrease. This has been showing for many years. So the way how we operating the fund is that we issue, obviously we can't issue properties per person. So what we have to work with is shares, but that share gets issued to our investor. So the value of that share certificate is directly linked to the value of the property, which is, if you have enough share certificates, you will own one complete property, which is easy to understand in the sense that, you know, at the exit period of 5 years, when you want to exit the fund and you would like one fully paid up property for yourself, it's possible to exchange those share certificates for that property, and you'll have a property that's a very high income and return on investment property that's solely owned by yourself. So it's a very incredible system we're working with here. All funds gets regulated by the FSCA, as I mentioned, and there's also SARS also gets involved, because these guys, they want to know if they're paying rebates. Guys, they are very involved in realizing that the rebates is you know, they don't want to give up money. So they do investigate to make sure everything is compliant and we're adhering to all the regulations for them to make those payments. And so, you know, as a form of security for our investors, you know, when you get public entities like SARS involved, you need to know that we are walking the straight line here. So we did mention that we've got our licenses, and we did mention that we're getting audited and regulated. And also, you need to know that the value of that share that you have in your hand is, when it's related and it's compared back to a property, is that at the end of the day, that certificate, share certificate, will have a value associated to it. So at the end of the day, you can take that share certificate and it will be as good as money in your hands to exchange it at a later stage in your life, when you feel when you want to exit the investment, or possibly you want to invest in another fund within the N5 group of companies. So that's all possible, and that's what we can do for you. If we can have a look at the next slide there. So just as an overview of the fund, we did mention it's for individuals, and we did mention it's for corporates and trusts. Something very important, there's two things that we need to have a look at when it comes to these sort of funds, is that we've got a requirement by the SARS, the South African Revenue Service, that those investments need to be in our hands and performing for a period of 5 years. This is a great example of a medium-term investment, where you have your investment performing over a period of 5 years. So you can build up wealth in 5 years, more than you can build up wealth in a shorter amount of time. And also to mature the investment, as we call it, it's better to have investments that's there for a longer period of time than actually leaving it for a shorter amount of time, because the real gains is in the long haul. Nobody really gets into investment, just doing it on short term and expecting great results. So we do issue the share certificates, as I mentioned. We do issue your SARS certificates for you to get your rebates back from SARS. And also, it's important that all taxes can be claimed back except the VAT tax. That is something nobody can do that, but obviously all the other taxes, if you're thinking one specific, if you're getting taxed at the end of the year on your salary or on your portfolio, guys, we can help with that, and we can help you get back those taxes. And at the end of the day, you'll have a great benefit in not just your investment growing, but also the rebates of your taxes getting paid back to you as a whole. TJ, yeah, so that's from my side, more or less, just summing it up. It's been said that it's no better day than today to start investing, and we're really looking forward to all our investors joining us very shortly.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Joe. But Joe, I'm not going to let you go. I just want us to go into a quick panel discussion. And I see Rita, she is back. So instead of us taking a break, we did already take a break, ladies and gentlemen. And I've got Rita, I've got Joe. I am going to go into the comment sections, and I will lead the discussion. Yours truly, the host. It's nice to lead the discussion because I can ask the questions that I want to ask. But really, on a serious note, I am here to facilitate the discussion with the experts. So these are my two favorite people in the business when I'm talking about money. And when I'm talking about property management, I have two other favorite people, and that is Bevan together with Terrence. And when I'm talking about developments and renovations and things like that, I only have one favorite person, and that's you, Bevan. And it goes on to the legal part as well. I have one favorite person. These are all my partners that we do business in, and they all comprise of M5 Property Addicts, which is the fund where we are going to be managing. Why is Rita and Joe my favorite people? Without Joe, we do not have the compliance of doing what we do. He went to take the test, and he is the qualified one, right? Rita, she is the CFO of the group. And to make sure that the money that you are contributing into the business is well secured, is well spent, she looks after that money. So between the two of them, they've got the brains, I've got the looks. Okay, on a serious note, let's move along on the questions. Right. I can go to the questions. First, yes, I can go to the questions because there is some questions. So I'll do my questions because we did receive a little bit of other questions, and I'll go through to your questions that are on here. So fire away, right? This session is meant for you. The first question that I'm going to take on, maybe actually let me just bring it on here, and I am sure we can all see this. Nati, thanks a lot for your question. Is this tax benefit only available to South Africans or South African companies? What if the funds are from a non-South African citizen? I can post this question here, maybe. I'll pose the same questions to both of you. And Rita, I know she's going to say she's not racist on any money. She doesn't, any money is no money. But Rita, I'll leave that one to you. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Right. Rita, you want to respond to that question there first, and then we'll go to Jofe after you.
Hell, you can definitely. As long as you pay tax in South Africa. So if you have any kind of tax burden in South Africa, you can get benefit from this fund. That is how I understand it.
Awesome stuff. Joe, you want to throw in there?
Yeah, exactly what Rita said. It's 100% the truth there. Even if you're a company outside of the country and you've got a tax burden within and you're tax registered within South Africa, you need to be tax registered, not just paying tax, because there's different kinds of taxes when you're a country working out of country. So if there's tax registered, you've got a tax burden, you can claim back those taxes, and that will work in your favor. And as an individual as well, you could be out of country, but if you pay taxes in South Africa, even if you are not from South Africa, you can still get those taxes paid back to you.
Awesome stuff. Our fund is non-xenophobic. We accept all money. Right. Okay. The other question that I've got, let me see this one. It comes from someone. Can you invest any time of the year? Joe, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, of course you can invest any time of the year, but it's really crucial to get in for your money to grow as quickly as possible, to invest as quickly as possible in the fund. There is two times a year, two periods in a year where you will receive your tax rebates. Guys, that it's a good, nice to have. It comes in your account. That comes through in July and September. But up until that happens, we can grow your funds for you within the investment fund, and you'll still have the benefits up until you get your tax rebates paid back to you.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks a lot, Joe, on that response. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst some more of your questions comes through, I am going to go to my own question. And my own question that I want to ask here is that we started off bringing in Rita, and she started talking about student accommodation. Does it mean that the fund will only invest in student accommodation? That's the first question. And the second question is, why are we investing in student accommodation outside anything else? Because I understand that Section 12Js, they can also invest in other things. Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. So TJ, we chose student hospitality, student accommodation, because it's got the underlying asset, which is a great benefit to our investors, because the asset grows and a property generate an income, which is, it's the best of both worlds, but there is other instances where Section 12J is currently agriculture is a very growing segment of the market. It's doing very well. Aquaponics is something that we definitely we've got a we've got a good interest in aquaponics, which is another area where we're looking to invest. So those two areas alone, just thinking about Section 12J, it can be that one can invest in many Section 12J ventures out there, which is asset rental. Guys get into asset rental, but at the end of the day, if you have really a property, nothing beats that. Just as a short summary there for you.
Good stuff.
And then I also student accommodation. I want to also answer that one from a different point of view. So yes, from a compliance point of view, that is allowed, amongst other things. But apart from all the benefits and the impact that you make in job creation and all of that stuff, it makes the most money. It is for me much more secure because you're working with longer term contracts, bursaries that do payments, and the returns are really, really great. Typical investment that we do is we'll spend 3 million with an income of around about 90 to 100,000 a month. So that's typically, and obviously there's expenses and blah 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 that needs to be considered, and more development, making the property better, bigger, more students. But at the end of the day, that is sort of the income that you're looking at, and for me, that is definitely one of the biggest benefits of doing student accommodation.
Awesome stuff. Rita, you lead the stream that is managing and also owning students in my student house. Okay, and the question that I want to pose to you is that we're speaking about job creation. Can you just demonstrate to us, break it down for us in terms of job creation for a property of, let's say, 30 students? How many jobs do a 30-student house actually create in the communities that we will invest in? And give us a real live example here so that we can all relate to what you're talking about. And Joe, I also want to ask you the same question, because I think what happens at a house, at one house or at a property, one property where Rita is managing, those numbers also escalate up to a national in terms of all the Section 12Js. And the same question I want to ask of you is, how many jobs actually have been created with these Section 12Js that we are talking about, which we are also on? But I'll give Rita the floor first.
So typical on a normal, just a 30-bed students, you need somebody that can do the accounts for you. That's now, or you can do it yourself and give yourself a job, but hopefully that's not your plan. So you've got somebody that can do accounts for you, because you need to track exactly what's going in. It's a business. You need to manage and track your money. Do your statements so that you can get all the benefits that comes with that. You need I've got an administration person that deals with writing letters about rules being broken, disciplinary actions, etc., etc. And then I do share these people across multiple houses, but those are typical roles that you need. And I've got per house like that, I've got an on-site house mother that lives on the property, that are really there to take care of them, to make sure the rules and your house is maintained. And then we also have a cleaner, somebody that comes in and they clean the property once or twice or 3 times a week, depending on the house. You've got a gardener, because we need to keep our gardens neat. At the end of the year, you've got maintenance that needs to be done. So I typically have painters, general handymen. So it actually becomes quite big if you think about it. But on my payroll, for every house, I would say at least, well, not for every house, for every 30 students, if you call it that, I would say at least 2 permanent jobs and 3 to 4 part-time jobs.
Wow. Okay. We've all heard that, in Africa, if you have to employ one person, you're actually impacting around about 10 people, that are dependent on that income. And there we are, we've got that's an average close to 50, 60 people already that money has an impact on. So yeah, well done. Joe, statistically, the 12Js has been around 2015. So I'm sure within these last 6 years, there's been a growth in terms of employment. What are they saying?
Yeah, so teacher, according to the industry report that was published last year, we've seen a growth in job opportunities of around about 10,500 individuals. So that's permanently employed and temporary employment. But there's also there's services, downstream services that the person that does the construction work or the maintenance, he's got a family and he feeds the family. So it's actually creating wealth for a lot more individuals that is actually accounted for in the industry. And also we assisting government. The whole initiative and the reason behind it is because public enterprises has got a way in actually creating jobs much more cheaper than government can actually do right now for the workforce out there. So we're creating jobs, and it's estimated that we're spending around about 126,000, 130,000 Rand per job opportunity where they claim or estimate that government is doing it for around about 400 to 450,000. If you consider all costs involved in actually getting that person skilled and employed. And even the numbers go so far as to say we can do it for 30,000, you know. So this is a great way to stimulate the economy and growth and grow work and job opportunities for it.
Okay, awesome stuff. I'm gonna go to the comments. Ohelo says, can we have a practical example where you demonstrate the return expected if I invest, this looks like 1,000 Naira, maybe $1,000, maybe 100,000. Okay, how does it work exactly? So can we give an example on 100,000 Rand, right? And when does one claim of back, and how much would I get back exactly? Rita, you want to attack this one here? 100,000 with an assumption of 40% tax rebate.
Well, yeah, I think it's important that everybody understands that your tax bracket is very specific to you. It depends on how much have you been paying to SARS throughout the year, right? So some months you might be higher, some months lower, but what is sort of the average that you've been on? So what that means is that if your tax bracket was 30%, you're going to get 30,000 rands back. If your tax bracket was 38%, you're going to get 38,000 rands back. If it was 45%, which is the maximum, you're going to get 45,000 rands back. So luckily it's very simple like that.
Okay, awesome stuff.
I can do those numbers.
Nice. Joe, I'll come to this question to you. This is Tembisa, and Tembisa says, I've heard that the 12J tax break is to be abolished in July 2021, which is not far away. Will this have any impact on the fund?
Yeah, teacher, to answer that, it will have an impact, because a lot of people realize that you've got very limited time left to approach Section 12J funds and get your money invested to get that tax benefit. So the funds are filling up quite nicely and quickly. So the benefit is there for an individual to invest. What's going to happen after June, end of June, is that the benefits of the Section 12J rebate will not be there anymore, in the sense that you will not get for consecutive years the tax rebate, but you will get it for this year. You won't lose your benefit, but government will change the rules for next year, and that rules means that you won't get your rebate, but the fund will still manage to grow at our growth figures that we indicated on the capital portion. That is, the capital portion is not considering your tax rebate portion. It's just a normal growth that's expected to be in the fund. And you will not lose that for the duration of the fund. The fund can exist for the next 100 years. It will not change how the fund operates. The fund will still be earning money for its investors 100 years from now.
Awesome stuff. Tembisa, thanks a lot.
My children's children to still make money from this fund.
Oh, come on, girl. Come on, girl. Right. Thanks a lot, Tembisa, for that question. We've got another question here coming from Utwa. No, I think it is, right? I apologize if I butcher your name there. Can you do your own return and claim the 12J benefits from SARS, or will you need a tax expert to assist you to claim? That's a very good question, actually. We go on to do these things, and then it's like taking insurance, right? You take on insurance, you have an accident, all of a sudden there's these long things that they need to ask of you. If you don't have this and this and this, you can't claim, and this is what Utkolanang, I think I got it right now this time around. Yeah.
Yeah, Tisha, I can answer that for you. So what it normally, how it works is that when you fill in online your ERP5s, there's one question that's always there, and people just glance over it. And the question is, have you invested in a Section 12J VCC recently? And people always tick no, but if you have invested and you know you've invested, you tick yes. And when you tick yes, it will give you the option to fill in a special number that we provide to the investors. You need that number. So how it works is that on our end, when you have invested in our fund, we send the documentation off to SARS. So they know that when you tick that box, they will be obliged to pay back your taxes for you for the financial year, because they on record, they know that you qualify for that to happen. So it's a two-step process. You do not need an expert. The ERP system has been set up so that any individual in the country can easily use it. But also we have people on standby at that stage that would like to get involved and assist you if need be. So it's not, we don't leave you on your own. We assist you if you do not know how to do that. No problem there.
Okay, awesome stuff. Tlantla says, if you're already investing with the M5 Property Crew, will you receive the tax benefits, or you need to start from scratch and put it in new funds directly to the fund? So Tlantla, she is one of our 291 investors that has been investing alongside with us, for a while. And Tlantla, the answer there is that the Section 12J is ring fenced, and do reach out to either myself or to Reta, and we can see what we can do for you there. But it is ring fenced on its own. Short answer is that those monies, the fund stands on its own as a Section 12J. But maybe you might be having some money that is maturing, that kind of thing, and maybe it could move there. So it's a great possibility. Do speak to one of us. Right. What is the minimum investment, and can we invest more money in the future? Joe?
Yeah, so we've been very lucky to actually be in a position where we can offer our fund to start at 50,000 Rand, which would normally. So minimum investment 50,000 Rand. Guys, you will have a look in the market out there. I'm not aware of anybody currently offering 50,000 Rand to enter a fund like this. So we're giving a great benefit to our investors there. Obviously, there's some individuals in the country that earn such a high number that they would like to invest 5 million or 10 million, and government actually got smart about it, and they're limiting an individual to invest not more than 2.5 million. To get their tax rebates back. So to sum it up, it's 50,000 to 2.5 million, and that's for an individual. As a business, we can push that up to about 5 million for your business to get your taxes back as well.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for your feedback. And
I think the one thing that Joe said there, which is very, very important, is that this thing was always meant by the government for rich people. Now, if you know M5 and you've been following us, you will know that we always open up and we push to get everyday people to invest. I want my sister to invest. I want my brother to invest. They're not rich people. They're just normal people. And that is why we have spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort to actually get this threshold to be lower, so that we can include more people in the fund. Because not only the rich should benefit from this, everyone should be able to benefit.
I think like what Tlantla says, she is investing with the M5 Property Crew. She sees herself as the crew. We want all of our crew to also invest with us. That's what it's all about. Okay, awesome stuff. I still have quite a bit of questions here that's coming through. It looks like we're going to be here all night. And Nonsi, thanks Nonsi, and welcome. Nonsi says, is this fund only available to those resident in South Africa? No, that's not. You can invest from anywhere else, but I'll leave it to the expert. or how would you invest if external to South Africa? Rita, you want to shoot on that one?
Yeah, let me shoot on that one. So I think we already covered that with this fund, as long as you are registered for tax in South Africa, you can benefit from the J12. If you are not registered for tax in South Africa, you can still invest, but you're not going to get your tax back, right? But you will still earn.
But why would you say that? Why would you say you're not going to get your tax back?
Because you haven't paid any tax to SARS. They're only going to give you back if you paid them.
100%. So you're not eligible for any taxes in South Africa, so that doesn't apply to you. Yes. But you can still invest and reap the benefit of the profit, right?
Yes, exactly. So you're not going to get the tax part of it, but you can still get the returns that we're going to generate and the growth and everything that comes with the fund. You're still gonna get all of that. So you can still invest like that.
100%. Okay, cool. Very important question that's coming from Ohole. Ohole says that also the student accommodation are they insured against fire? We've seen fires recently in Cape Town, I think this is a very relevant question in today's time. You know, but Rita, you are the principal head manager of all of these students. I don't think that maybe your answer should be around the fire alone, because there's many insurances that we take over and above what the question is here. Can you just walk us through that?
I take any kind of insurance that's available. I take it, okay? Because you want to make sure it's a small price to pay for something big that could go wrong. And even fires in Cape Town or whatever, that's external. But you know, some students like to leave oil on the stove and then it explodes, and then they try and put water on the fire and then your ceiling burns. So those are normal things we deal with. So we take building insurance, we take business insurance, we take public liability insurance. I literally have any kind of insurance that I can possibly get, content insurance that we take on this. And our normal properties, we would even get eviction insurance. So yeah, so literally anything that you can think of, we get insurance that's out there, that's available.
Okay, awesome stuff. I'm going to go into Gaswini says, as a shareholder in this fund, does it state on the share certificate that you are a partial owner of the property we invested in? Technical question there. We can go on to Joe.
Yeah, TJ, so it doesn't state specifically what your share refers to, but in any fund we disclose our properties. So you as an investor will come and we will sit down with you and say, we've got a following 20 properties in the fund, and so your share is a share of the 20 properties. But that's a physical property you can drive to. You can park your car, you can get out of your vehicle, and you can walk to the property, open the door, and you own a portion of that asset. And that's what's nice about property. So you can physically touch it and see it. It's very hard to steal at the end of the day.
Awesome stuff. This is not an M5 fund thing, right? It's an industry norm. This is what happens. These are the procedures. We're not reinventing the wheel to suit our own thinking here. But anyone else who invests in these type of vehicles, that's exactly what you're going to get in terms of security. And we just enhance it a little bit more, where we want you to engage with us a little bit deeper, and you know where it is. But for some people who have money at how can we help you and moving forward faster, I don't know whether they've ever shown you where the investment is. That's a conversation for another day. Right, I'll move along. The other question that's coming through, I think this is a follow-on conversation, which says, we normally use the IRP 5s. So for all of you guys who are employed, you know that there is IRP 5s that gets loaded onto e-filing system. by the employer and all that, what document do you need to produce to SARS that confirms that you have invested in a 12J?
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah. So what needs to be presented to SARS is that Section 12J certificate that we issue our investors, and that's so it only gets issued by recognizable and VCCs that's been accredited. So obviously we've been registered with the South African Revenue Service to be able to issue those certificates. And so you need to provide that certificate once you do your e-filing and upload that to the system if they require it.
Just like you get your medical aid certificate, you're going to get a certificate like that for that you've invested in the fund.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome stuff. I like Ohole. She's on fire. She's asking all the questions here. I think we should make a spokesperson. Is the normal investment option still available, and is that still on 14% interest? I'm not registered for tax in South Africa. I am from Namibia. Ohole, that's a different product that you're talking about on the 14%, but do reach out to either myself or Rita, and we can get you connected onto the 14%. That's something that's different to this product here that we are talking about. Right. La Vie, is that? Yeah, La Vie, it says so. Yes, right. So does this mean that if I invested before end of June, I will still qualify for the bonus depreciations? You are dead right. You need to bring in your money long before June, La Vie, and we will get that money in. I am going a little bit faster. I want us to close it. We are 7 minutes above time, but I'd like us to get through to all the questions. The technical ones I'll throw into the specialists. Kevin says, if I'm not mistaken, we still need to go through a qualification process to get approved to join. Can you talk about this process? I'm gonna throw that one into Rita because I think, you know, as M5 property addicts, we have journeyed this. There are some people that we have started working with, and understanding of property is something that we need everyone to have. The application process, Rita.
So there is we've partnered with people in the past where there was a personality clash. They didn't understand the vision. They didn't want to be part of the greater vision that we have. And so there is a process. We do ask you some questions, and we do give you a call. We have a discussion. We have a conversation. We see if we can work with you. If we can be, because we're going to be partners, you know, we're going to be, if I have my way, we're going to be tied together in marriage, in investment marriage for the next 100 years. So it's important that we can work together. It's important that we can meet each other for lunch and go to a party together and enjoy each other's company and have the same vision after at the end of the day. So it is important. We will be sending a link where you can apply. We'll give you a call and we'll give you an outcome from there. But yeah, that's basically, it's a very simple process. So you fill in a form, we give you a call, you invest.
This is to ensure that you are not thinking that you're going to get 100% next month. That's what we're setting out of here. And we are serious about our business, so we also want to partner up with people that are also serious about their own investments. Temisa says, I just want to be clear, if you invest in the fund, do you get a tax benefit and income from your investments? 100%. That's what you do get, right? Okay. I'm going in onto the next one. The Jalash says the 14% is yearly or monthly. It is on a yearly basis, right? And Tlantla, says, is the tax rebate calculated as annual return once-off payment, or do you still get the tax benefits annually along as your money is still invested.
So
Right.
do you still get your rebate? Is it a once-off, or do you get it every year on the same money?
100%. So you get the rebate once off, and thereafter you start getting through the fund starts paying you some returns. But the tax rebate is once off. If they were doing this all the year for the 5 years, they would have gone broke. The 12J will end in July, so can we still claim or benefit after July in the next 5 years? The tax benefit, it ends by July. The fund will still exist all the way to 5 years. So the income, the dividends will still exist all the way to plus 5 years. So it will still be available. Thank you for your insights. Thank you, sir, or ma'am. Are the shares transferable to third parties? Oh, this is a good question. No one has ever asked me this question before. Should one need to leave the fund? Joe?
Yeah, so what can happen there is that the minimum requirement is 5 years. So after 5 years, you can seed and transfer your shares to any family member that you choose, or a friend or colleague, or sell your shares on to the next individual, or sell it back to the fund. We'll happily buy out your shares because we've got so much faith in our product and property that we invest in, that will buy out your shares after 5 years if you wish to leave the fund and would like to take some capital with you. So yeah,
or
so
donate it to
5 years.
Or donate it to me, Joe.
Yeah, that's always an option. Thanks, DJ. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Right. Next question. Nati's question here: how much impact will vacancies have on the investment returns, since the properties will be bought once contributions start coming in? Rita, you're dealing with vacancies, not really vacancies at the moment, but just give us in a short period, Rita. You how many students we're managing right now? How many beds?
It is now about 319 that we've got.
Okay. So you got 390 beds at the moment. How many students do you have on those beds?
Well, I don't. So I don't have any vacancies right now, because the moment I get, and you do get people. I had 2 people that came back. They said they need to leave because the one, why did she leave again? Her father passed away, and now she was a private student. She can't afford the place anymore. She's actually going to maybe try again next year to come and study. And so you do get those ones. But I've got people on the waiting list that have paid deposits that are waiting for me to call them to move in. So I don't have any vacancies like that. And then I only really have these issues with private students, not so much with bursary students, because you will get your money anyway, right? So for me, that is sort of my insurance, is the bursary students, and that helps you a lot with your vacancies, which is why we did so well last year, because I had 90% bursary students and a very small amount of private students.
Okay. What was your vacancy rate last year? So you ran for 365 last year, and also not just last year.
You can't count last year. I was vacant the whole year, but we still got money, right? Because it was 2020. Remember, hard lockdown.
Right.
But I think, like I said, I had about a 10% private student capacity of private students that I had in the business, and those kids cancelled. So I didn't get those rent. I obviously couldn't backfill them with other students last year. So last year I had about a 10% loss overall for the year. But again, for a year like last year, that was actually very little. And we still did really, really well, because I didn't have any expenses. I was still getting paid, but I didn't have electricity, expenses, lots of water, etc., that you would normally pay. So that kind of caught up with the actual vacancy amount that I lost.
Awesome stuff. Nata's last questions as we go closer to the end is, when do you envisage that the maximum return on the investments will be achieved, considering the fund will be buying properties as and when they are available? Joe?
Yeah. So, teacher, there's a saying in property: you make your money when you buy at the right amount of money. And then, so we're looking to invest in properties from year one throughout the period of, let's call it 10 to 20 years. But for investor to invest, I think a period of 5 years would be the right amount of time for them to actually grow their investment to such a state where they say, look at the track record, guys. How did we do for the past 5 years? So for the next 5 years, we've got a good idea how we're going to achieve what we're going to achieve after that. So I think to keep your investment in the fund for 5 years would be the best amount of time for a medium investment, a medium duration investment, to show you what sort of returns we can generate for you. And we are buying property on a yearly basis. We're not buying property year one and only paying out returns year 2, 3, 4, and 5. We are buying property in year 1 to 5 throughout, and that's how we grow your money for you.
Awesome stuff, Joe. It's been great having you around. I think we've addressed most of the questions, but time is also ticking. We meant to have finished off at around about 8:30, but we have entertained more questions to now. It is 13 minutes before the top of the hour, so we are going to close it off for now. But some instructions. Some instructions is that those that are wanting to invest in the Section 12J, and you're seeing that this is what you want to do, we are going to put in a link in the comments, and out of that, just follow that. That's really the application. And with that, you're going to get a phone call in terms of, have you like, are you good to work with us or not? And then thereafter, the paperwork follows through, and from the paperwork following through, and you will then make your deposit, and boom, you're in the fund. And what's going to happen after that? Later, together with the team, they start working, filling up these student accommodation and things like that. Joe, your last comments before I throw in the before I close, and then I will actually, maybe no, I should honor ladies. Ladies first.
Okay, well, like I said before, I can't do this by myself. People are always, whenever I teach people to do student accommodation, they're like, aren't you worried that your students are going to come and take these students away from you and you're going to be empty? No, I'm not worried about that. There's a lot of demand out there. I'm planning to go big. I'm not going to fight over 10 or 20 students here and there. No, my mind is on thousands of students, and that is my vision, to go big. I cannot do it alone. I will do it if I have to. I will, but I want to go faster, and I can only go faster with everybody out there to help and to invest. Helping by investing their money, you're not only going to help the students. You're not only going to help us to grow the fund. You can help your family, and for as long as your money is in that fund, your family is going to benefit from it. Whether you are there or not, they can still benefit from it. Those little money babies are going to be coming and coming and coming forever. So that's my vision, forever. So that is what I want you to do tonight. Those are my closing comments.
Awesome stuff. Thanks a lot for your comments. And Joe, your closing comments there, sir?
Yeah, Tisha, we've spoken a lot about some really technical things tonight. But at the end of the day, anybody that wants to invest in the fund must realize that we're a team of individuals that's there to assist you and show you how we're going to grow your funds for you. We're going to assist you in getting your tax rebates back. This is not a path you walk alone. We walk with you, and we're there to assist you as much as we can. We are individuals that you can physically talk to on the phone. As Rita has mentioned, we build a relationship with our investors, that we attend parties together, and and we celebrate the wealth, and we celebrate success in the company as well. So yeah, we're here for you. Whatever you need, just we're a phone call away.
Good stuff. I wish we was on Zoom. I could have actually asked Nhlanhla to come in and join us in this conversation. She's been investing with us for a while, and just for her to give her own testimony of the experience that she's had with us. But yeah, maybe besides Nhlanhla, anyone else, you can give your own personal experience from when you started investing with us. You can just drop it in the comments there on how you have experienced it, And I think for me, it's an opportunity of two things there. An opportunity for us to celebrate that we're doing great. And if it's coming from a negative perspective of, something that has not happened correctly, it's an opportunity for us to learn and improve. So any feedback that you've got, don't be scared. I'm your captain, your group CEO. I'm giving you the permission. Say it in the comments. Either way, whether it's right or wrong, or whether TJ didn't greet you at Woolies, it's okay. Write it in. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. It's been great hanging out with you. Don't forget tomorrow. Who's coming in tomorrow to talk tomorrow? It's a different setup tomorrow. Rita, do you remember who's coming in tomorrow? I can't remember.
Isn't it Muzi?
Oh, tomorrow is Friday, right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to come in tomorrow. Muzi, we've been hanging out with Muzi. Let me not say much. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, we'll see you right here. Do invite someone else. And it is over for now. Good night.
Everyone.